Somebody did ask about the prices of these things. Our current plan, like for a single person, is $45 a pay period for the current plan. Starting March 1st, if you stay on the current plan, it goes up to $48 per pay period if you're a single person. The other plan goes down to $39. So that's one consideration. You know, I don't want to give you medical advice, but I would say, you know, whenever you buy insurance, you're either going to kind of win or lose. I mean, if you buy insurance for your homeowner's insurance, and nothing happens, well, you kind of lost that year, and the insurance company won. But if you have a fire, you win, and the insurance company loses. All insurance is like that. And if you've been winning, I think you want to stay on the existing plan. If you've been losing, in other words, if you're not hitting your deductible, if you're just going in maybe for your wellness, and that's being paid at 100% anyway, this might be a good alternative for you because you can pay less if you don't expect a lot of problems. And then that might be one consideration. If you want to save some money, this other plan gives you the opportunity to save. It also gives you the opportunity to open an HSA. So I wanted to talk about the differences between a flex spending account and a health savings account, okay? The middle name of those two accounts is the key to these things. On our existing plan, a health savings account is not available. So if you stay on the existing type plan, the flex is the only thing that's available to you. You have to have certain types of coverages, like that drug thing. That's a part of an HSA plan. So to have an HSA, you've got to be on that type of a plan. So we designed this new plan so it's eligible for an HSA. Now, what are the differences? Well, let me say the first thing that's the same. This is the same about these. You're paying for medical expenses with pre-tax dollars. So if you go to the doctor and they give you a bill for $100 and you pay that bill, it could be, if you didn't use one of these things, that it took you $125 of earnings after they take the taxes out and all that stuff. Then you have $100 left to pay the doctor. So it took you $125 of earnings to pay that $100 bill because you had to pay taxes on it. If you use the flex or the HSA, $100 of earnings will give you $100 to spend at that doctor because it's pre-tax money. That's the big advantage of both of these things. The flex, here's how this works. You decide on an amount that you want to deduct every pay period. You are locked in for the rest of the year. Because when you decide on that flex amount, you kind of set up a contract. Let's say you want to take out $25 a pay period. So over 26 pay periods, that's $650. All right. With a flex, on March 1st, once the plan year starts, you have availability of all $650, even though that money hasn't been taken out of your account yet. It's all there for you to spend right on day one. That's one of the advantages of the flex. And then, as you go through the year, you can use your debit card, which you will get, and you can take money out and use that money, spend that money for medical expenses. Now, it used to be flex had a spend it or lose it type clause. So if you had that $650 and you get to the end of the year, you haven't spent any of it. It used to be you forfeited all $650. Now, though, 2 years ago this started, you do have a possibility of a $500 rollover. And that $500, you know, so if you took out $650 over the course of the year, you didn't spend anything, at the end of the year you would only have to sacrifice now $150 of that dollars. And then the $500 would roll over and you could continue using that the next year. So that's kind of how a flex works. An HSA is different. An HSA is owned by you. The flex is owned by us. It's kind of our account and you're taking money from it. The HSA is owned by you. if you stop working at DSI, it goes with you. If you, and there is no limit on how much you can save. There's no limit on how much can be in that account. That's one of the big advantages of it. So like I said, that middle name is the big difference. With the Flex spending account, they're designed for you to spend the money. That's why originally there was no rollover. It's pre-tax money that you're expected to spend. In the health savings account, you're expected to save. So, let's say you're someone that don't have a lot of medical expenses, and you take this health savings account plan with a $5,000 deductible. That's gonna hurt when it hits. But you can start saving for it now. You can start putting, that $25 a pay period gives you $650 at the end of the year. If you're not using it, you can start saving it up. So when that does happen, you have money set aside to help pay for it. And you can set aside enough that eventually you'll cover that entire deductible. If you don't have those events happening on a consistent basis, you'll be able to save up enough to cover that deductible. So that's kind of the idea between a health savings account and a flex account. There's a big difference there. One is meant to save and one is meant to spend, but they're both pre-tax dollars. Now, that HSA can be set up, we don't own the account, so you have to set it up through a bank of your choosing. And some of those banks out there, you might have a home bank that you want to use, and since you're a great customer from them, they might give you an HSA account with no monthly fees and everything's good, but they might not. I don't know what your home bank offers. But because DSI does so much work through First Financial Bank, you can get a no-cost HSA through First Financial. You don't have to choose First Financial. You can choose any bank you want. But you can use First Financial as your bank if you want to open up an HSA. And they will have no monthly fee to run the HSA. They will give you a debit card. So you'll have one just like you had a Flex. You can, when you do have medical expenses, you can just give them the debit card and it will deduct it from your HSA account. So it's a very nice, clean way, and we thank First Financial for doing that for us. And they're doing that because they're a good business partner with DSI. So that's why they're here today, so that if you want to sign up for one of those, you can today if you wanted to. What questions do you have about flexes and HSAs?
Tom, be sure that they understand it's a whole separate account.
It's a whole separate account.
Like
Yes.
they already have a checking or.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, it is a separate account. Because of the way the law is, this HSA has to be a separate account. You're not putting it into your main checking account, your personal checking account. These are monies that are set aside in a special HSA, and the bank will report on that every year. You get a certain document that says how much you put into your HSA and stuff like that. And the HSA monies are supposed to be used just for medical expenses. If you pull money out of the HSA for non-medical reasons, you can do that, but it gets taxed at that time, and it gets a 10% penalty if you do that. So this is really set up to be used for health expenses. Yes, Judah?
Do you get a debit card also with the HSN?
You can. I mean, it all depends on what bank you choose. And what their situation is. First Financial, definitely, yes, that can be your option. Now, another option is you could use checks, I think, even through First Financial. So you can go the debit card way or the check route.
But it would only be for the amount that's in there at that moment. Not
Right,
like a flat.
that's true. With health savings accounts, you can't spend money that's not there. It's a savings account. So you're not gonna have, like a Flex, you had $650 on day one, even though you haven't put that money in yet. With a health savings account, you can only spend what's in there. Good point, Judah. Yes.
The question I see quite often when there's two plans is if I go to the HSA plan this year and I put $500 in and then I want to go back to the other plan next year, talk through that. You can keep your HSA, you just can't put more in it.
Right. You can't be putting more into an HSA yet. For those that are on the phone, he said, can I switch plans? If I have an HSA this year put 500 in. Next year, I decide to go back to a flex plan or to not put anything in or not have this health coverage. Yes, that money's still there for you to use for health expenses, but you can't put more in if you don't have a qualified plan that you can contribute to an HSA. So that's money you do not lose that money. It's still there for you to use for health expenses. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. So if you choose this high deductible plan, this is one way of guarding yourself against that high deductible. Try to save the money so you've got the money available if and when that high deductible claim or that big deductible hits you. Another way to protect yourself against that is something called, what I like to call the AFLAC plans. And the whole idea behind these are to, you kind of pay the first monies and then insurance kicks in after that. Well, these AFLAC type plans, I mean, you've seen the duck, but the whole idea is to protect yourself against those first monies. So an AFLAC type plan usually give you a lump sum payment in case something happens. And I'm going to have Susan come up and talk about what those are. This is another way to protect yourselves against that big deductible payment.
Thank you. He's doing such a good job describing my plan. So this is the information that we're going to talk about in this brochure. My name's Susan. I'm with Guardian, not with AFLAC. But most people have heard of the AFLAC plans, so that's why Tom referenced those. Basically, what our plans do is we're going to pay you money if you're diagnosed with a certain illness. So for example, under the critical illness benefit, if you want to look at that, you can choose a different level of benefit, which is going to be on the last page. We'll go over that, but you can essentially choose up to $15,000 in a benefit. And if you look under the conditions, if you are diagnosed with invasive cancer, we are going to give you 100% of that benefit, or $15,000 upon diagnosis. We will mail you a check, and you can do whatever you want with that check. Typically, people use it to offset their deductibles and their high deductible health plans. You may need it for groceries. You may need it to, get a babysitter for your kids because you're undergoing treatment. It's your money to use how you want. And that's the way these plans work, is if you meet the criteria under the plan, then we send you a check and you can do whatever you want with it. You could also, if you haven't maxed out your health savings account, you could put it in your health savings account. So, that's just something to consider. These are the different, under the critical illness benefit, there are cancer diagnoses, vascular diagnoses like heart attacks, strokes, there's organ failure, kidney failure, and then there are additional conditions like ALS, Alzheimer's, loss of sight, loss of speech, multiple sclerosis, etc. And these are the benefits that we pay, 100%, 75%, 30%, whatever it says of that maximum benefit that you choose.
Susan?
Yes.
Now, there is a pre-existing clause
Right,
in place.
I'm getting over that. Oh, to the next page, yeah. Good, thank you for bringing that up. Under this plan, under the critical illness plan, you also cover your spouse for up to 50% of your lump sum benefits and your children for up to 25% of your lump sum benefits. This plan is a guarantee issue during this open enrollment period, which means that you do not have to fill out a health questionnaire. So you may know of something that it might be coming up, whatever, but we're not going to ask you any health questions, okay? But we do have a pre-existing condition exclusion. And what that means is that if you are diagnosed in the 3 months prior to your effective date with this condition, you have to be covered under our plan for 12 months before we will pay you for that condition, okay? So we do have a guarantee issue, so we're not going to ask you any questions, but there is that pre-existing condition exclusion if you've been treated for this. Did you want?
Yeah, but you might be touching on this. If an enrolled individual develops one of the conditions on this list, what are basically the mechanics of what they need to do in order to receive?
There, on our website, there is a form that they can take to their doctor. The doctor fills that out and sends it in to us, and that's all you need to do. And then we pay the benefit. Mm-hmm. It's very easy to do, and we pay right away, so you'll probably have it within a week after we receive the information. This is a portable plan, so that means if you leave DSI, you can take it with you and just continue to pay the premiums, and they would be the same premiums that are going to be outlined on the next page. The plan has a cancer vaccine benefit, which is $50 per lifetime, and that's for things like HPV vaccines or hepatitis B vaccines. Those are proven to prevent cancer. The next thing on this list is a wellness benefit. Under your health plans, your preventative care wellness visits are covered at 100%, so you're not going to pay anything for those. Under this plan, once you get that preventative care wellness benefit done, we're going to send you a check for $50. So you can actually get rewarded for getting an annual exam. Your plan pays, your benefit, your Anthem plan pays 100% for that, but we're going to give you $50 to get that. We want you to get that wellness benefit or that wellness exam every year, and that's eligible for you and your spouse and your children. The next page is going to tell you the cost for this plan. You can elect up to $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000 in employee benefit under this plan. And then these are the cost rates for these. And those are pretty steady. Those prices don't really go up very much, so you'll see that year after year it'll be about the same.
Susan,
Yes.
The, for spouse, would that be based on the spouse's date of birth? Or the
Employee date of birth. Employee date of
Same
birth.
as
Yes.
the additional life insurance?
Right, yes, thank you, that was a good question. It's based upon the employee's date of birth, so the age bracket is employee-based. Any other questions about the critical illness? Okay, then I'll move on. Oh, yeah.
It says your premium will not increase as you age, so say you're 49 now, next plan year, you're gonna be 50, will you jump up into that higher?
Yeah, you will.
Okay.
Yeah, you will. So like if you're 47, it won't increase to you're 48, but when you go to the next bracket, it does go up, yes. Okay, the next plan in here is the accident benefit summary. Again, it works the same way as the critical illness. When something happens to you, we pay you money, and you can use that money for whatever you need to use it for. The cost is going to be listed up here for you and your spouse, you and your children, and you, spouse, and children, so you can elect any level there. This is for off-the-job accidents, not on the job. The plan, again, is portable, so if you leave DSI, you can take it with you, and the prices will be the same. There's no increase in price if you leave. Your benefit amount for accidental death and dismemberment is $10,000 for employee, $5,000 for spouse, and $5,000 for children. We do have a seat belt. You can read through this common carrier. Like, for example, if the common carrier, if you are in a train or an airplane accident, we'll pay 200% of the benefit as opposed to 100%. Seat belts and airbags, if you're in an automobile accident, we pay an additional amount if you had your seat belt on or if the airbag came up. The wellness benefit, again, same thing is under the critical illness benefit. As long as you get an annual physical, we will send you a check for $50. If you decide to elect both the critical illness plan and the accident benefit, we will send you $50 under each plan, so you can get $100 for getting that annual exam, even though your health insurance paid for it in full. Some of the features are going to be listed on this schedule. This is what we pay for different types of services. So if you're in an emergency room treatment, we'll send you a check for $150. If you are in an ambulance, we'll send you a check for $100. Again, this is money that we just send to you to offset any out-of-pocket costs that you may have. On the next page, the fourth one down, we have a child organized sports benefit. So if your child is injured while in an organized sport, we will pay an additional 20% on top of the schedule amount to you for that injury. And then just listed below, again, are all of the different amounts that we would pay you based upon those conditions. There is an enrollment form over on the table, or I'm sorry, actually in your packet, that you need to fill out if you'd like to elect these. Again, these are great benefits because you never know what's going to happen. I know everybody knows somebody with cancer, heart attack. Everybody gets in accidents all the time. You just never know, and this is a great benefit to kind of help, cushion the blow if something like that happens. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.